everyone, welcome to my channel, Southern Iowa Luddite, where I try to do some hillbilly redneck life hacks, sometimes with a whole lot of technical assistance, always with a lot of scientific understanding. Sometimes I'll also do it Mad Max environment, where we're at the apocalypse and Amazon is definitely not delivering. Today I'm going to take some sunflower seeds and I'm going to cold press it into sunflower oil. My source is just at the General Tractor Supply Company birdseed here. And I'm going to take that oil once I purify it, convert it into biodiesel so I can power up all my equipment here on the farm and generate some horsepower. So hang in there, buckle up. We'll see how this goes today. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so a little bit about how you press seeds into oil. So this is my seed press, and I recognize not everybody has a seed press like this. However, this is what I have, and so this is what I'm going to get it done with. So the idea is you have a seed source, you have basically some type of item that will drop into the screw side of the screw press, and then it will expel the screw and the meat and ultimately the oil in this direction. The meal will drop out, and the oil, once it heats up, will drop into this weir. For all those nerds out there, you know what a weir is. I've got successive heights here. It traps some of the solids, the meal, the shells that will come out with the oil, and then will drop into a bucket underneath here. And then eventually I'll collect all this and I'll start to purify the sunflower oil. So the first step here is to get the press up to temperature. There's some really interesting science going on with this oil press. If you think about it, the meat of the seed comes under incredible hydraulic pressure inside of this screw press, and the oil somehow magically drops out in this section of the press, where then the water that's in the seed and the meat of the sunflower seed will expel with the meal out here, and we will generate steam. And that's kind of a cool trick here, because you're separating water and oil, and you should ask the question, why is the oil dropping here and not out here? And there's a lot of engineering design I'm not going to go into. You can look this up. There are probably people that explain this a heck of a lot better than I can. But that's how the process works, and that's what we're going to take advantage of. So I'm going to first warm up. I'll start getting the seed meal flowing through. I'll be making some commentary, and then hopefully here pretty soon we'll have some oil dropping out of this. I'll start with the least restriction I can have going through the press, and then I'll put a collar on and a restrictor, which will effectively cause more pressure in there to hopefully maximize the yield of the oil over the time through the press. So I'm not trying to do a commercial process. This is just me being me, making some sunflower oil to then show you how to make it into biodiesel after I purify the sunflower oil. Then I purify the biodiesel, and then I'll show you running in the equipment around here. So hopefully this goes as well as planned. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply some heat and heat up the head here. And one thing you can't get by with if you've got this equipment is you have to know your temperature profile out here on the head of the press and back here where the oil will expel. So the first thing I want to do is I want to get this collar heated up. I want to get this head heated up somewhere in the 150, 200 degree Fahrenheit range, and then go from there. So got to convert this to Fahrenheit. I go back and forth from Celsius and Fahrenheit, but for my videos I try to do Fahrenheit because most of you understand Fahrenheit and not Celsius, given that we live in the United States. Okay, so generating some heat here finally. It's going to be time to turn on the screw press here pretty quickly, and we'll see what happens then. So turning on the press, I've got it set at 35 revolutions per minute. I think of it as in hertz. So if you hear me hertz, just understand that I'm really talking revolutions per minute, because I'll have to move this around and optimize it to see where we go. And just like that, looks like the battery has failed. Nope, it's alive. I got plenty of heat on this now, and I'm getting some oil coming out already, so I'm probably pressing too fast. So I'm going to slow it down. And I'll have to keep feeding seeds in here. So that's a good sign. I'm starting to get some meal out here. And I'm already making a lot of oil on this side of the press, if you can look closely in here. I'll move the camera eventually, but I'm right now going to put a restrictor in this and really start making some oil here. So, got to have gloves on because it's already pretty hot, and need to dig this out, clear that out as much as I can, get to the threads. There are threads in here that will allow me to put a restrictor in there, and with that restrictor I'll even get more oil coming out of the oil press here. Now technically I could make cold pressed oil with this. I'm not going to worry about this for what we're doing today. I'm just trying to make oil for you, and actually to me the more interesting part will be when I clean up the oil and purify it in a centrifuge and other techniques I have here. I'm actually in an old llama barn that I've kind of converted into my scientific playground, if you will. So, so we'll see how this goes here. I can tell you it's going really well. Sunflowers are really easy to press. They have a lot of oil content, and I'm already making a lot of oil. As this continues, I'll move the camera and give you a better shot of this. I'm going to give it a little more speed here, and probably a little heat. That might be too much restriction at this point, but we'll run with it here for a second. It's really groaning in there. But there's a tremendous amount of oil coming out of the back here. And it's at the right temperature. It's at 110 degrees Fahrenheit. So we are in fact making cold press oil. I just don't like how I'm getting a jam in here. I'll see if I can push that through. Nope, we're gonna have to stop it, relieve some pressure, and effectively start over. Takes a while to dial the seeds in, to get the right restrictor, things like that. But it eventually happens, so trust me, we'll be making some oil here pretty soon. Gotta have gloves on. In a commercial environment, probably would be using welder gloves, things like that. So again, you just generate a lot of temperature and pressure here. So we're going to go with a little bit bigger. We're going to go with a little bit bigger orifice here to try this, and then see where we go from there. So I'm going to help dig some of this out of there that kind of got compressed in there really tight. I want this screw area to kind of reset itself, and then I'll stop it and I'll put this back in. So turn off the heat. Don't want to overcook that. I don't know how much of this live stream constant feed I'm going to do, how much I'll edit and cut out. So we'll see what makes it out. Okay, that's pretty nice. So I'm pushing it up to 60. We're making a ton of oil. It's going to be just an exercise of keeping sunflower seeds going in and keeping this ribbon coming out. The interesting thing here is I'll take this ribbon, think of this as like soybean meal that gets fed to a lot of the livestock industry around the world. Similar thing here, a lot of protein, a lot of amino acids, a lot of fiber in this. And I'll just take these ribbons and take them down to the bottom of my farm and feed the deer and have a lot of happy deer and wildlife down there. Okay, I'm running about 70 revolutions a minute, and time to get some temperatures here. So I'd like to see my head temperature out here get up to about 205 degrees Fahrenheit. That's just a little bit below the boiling point of water, or the steam temperature, which is 212. Once we get there, we'll really be ripping. Back here, I really don't want to get over on the metal side of this. I don't want to get over 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're kind of operating there. Right now, this is going really well. So we'll let this line out here for a while, and I'll set you up and get you a closer shot of what's going on. Okay, so I'm back. You can see that I'm running about 74, 75 revolutions per minute. Got a really nice ribbon coming out. And what's going on over here is you can see that the oil is just screaming out of the section of the screw press where the oil should be coming out. This is working really well. There's a reason why sunflower oil is so cheap. It's easy to cold press. The material's really abundant. It's been hybridized, to have a really good high percentage of oil per weight. Okay, so one thing I'm going to be doing with this as the channel progresses, I'm going to be finding interesting feedstocks where I can take oil from seeds. So one thing I'm getting set up to do is to do acorns. They're going to be a little more challenging, but they don't have as much weight percent oil. And I've got some other interesting oil sources. So the idea is we can go out and forage and then isolate oil, convert it into biodiesel, and generate horsepower here on the farm. So one interesting thing going on here is you'll notice that we're generating a lot of protein fiber ribbons in the catch bucket, and that's good. But you'll also notice that the oil that's coming out looks rather black. And it's only black because there's seed shell fiber and there's meat in there. But when this oil is all purified, trust me, I'll centrifuge it, I'll purify it, and it will be just a beautiful golden color, and might trend towards a little bit of a green, but it will look nothing like it looks right now. So I'll wait until this weir fills up and then starts coming out at the end here, and then start collecting in the bucket. Probably see you in about half an hour. Well, as this just keeps churning along, I thought this might be a good opportunity for me to introduce myself to you. I'm Todd Johnson. I am the Southern Iowa Luddite. I grew up in Southern Iowa to a blue-collar family. Was fortunate enough to come out of a small town Iowa, get a PhD in chemistry, had a successful corporate career, moved more and more towards entrepreneurship, eventually founded my company Osage Healthcare Inc. in 2012, which is where I discovered the amazing healing oil, Maclura Pomifera seed oil. For those of you in the Midwest, these are seeds from hedge balls. Created quite a brand by leveraging my drug development background to clinically prove that vegan oil to show its anti-aging properties and etc. And ended up selling those formulas, that brand, and the trademark Pomifera to a large global skincare and nutrition company. Since then, I've just been goofing around doing interesting things. And if you want to learn more about my backstory, I'll drop link down below and take you to my website, ohcskincare.com, and you can learn all about the amazing benefits of Maclura Pomifera seed oil. So it's a cool story. It's an in the wild harvest. We built a real eco economy of scale here in southern Iowa, and I'm the only one in the world that produces it at multi-thousand gallons a year. It's quite expensive, as you'll see in the link. It sells for $75 an ounce, and it's really been a blessing in my life and my family's life, all of our employees, and it allows me to do and bring this fun stuff to you. And because of that, I do have an expertise in how to cold press oil from seeds, and that's why we're in this phase of my channel where, as I said, we'll do this foraging series. We'll purify seed oil, convert it into biodiesel, purify the biodiesel, and create high energy diesel fuel that will power my equipment here around the farm and into timbers and all the other crazy crap that I think about and do on a somewhat daily to weekly to hourly basis, depending on my mood. Okay, so it's been about 15 minutes, and I've kind of got this lined out where I want it. I've got a greatly reduced orifice there, so I've got a lot more restriction, and I'll show you that size difference on the ribbons. You can see the sunflower oil's really coming out now. This is exactly how it's supposed to be working. My temperature profiles are good. We'll start filling up the weir. So just to show you the size differential, I'm reduced down to this size relative to starting at the size on top. So the more narrow the ribbon, the more pressure, the higher throughput, the higher yield. I've got this system maxed. I'm not going to mess around with it. I'm not trying to make commercial sunflower oil. I'm just trying to make sunflower oil to do my crazy southern Iowa Luddite stuff. All right, check back in with you in a little while. Okay, so you can start to see the technology behind a weir. This part of the weir tray is filling up and overflowing, and you can see there's a little bit of fine particles floating over the side, and then as it goes lower and lower and further along the tray, it eventually come out these holes. But this helps catch some of the stuff, so I don't have to filter it out or centrifuge it to clean up this beautiful sunflower oil. And now for the ASMR phase of this video. So the oil is getting ready to flow out of the final chamber of the weir through the lowest hole and into the collection bucket. First drop in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, half, quarter, eighth, 16th, 32nd. The rate of that stream into the 5-gallon bucket is the rate of the oil being expelled through the oil press relative to the 80 revolutions per minute for the screw head. Okay, so we just finished up the first 40-pound bag of black oil sunflower wild bird seed. Royal Wing is the brand, if anybody cares. Not sponsored, but shout out to them. This appears to be high quality sunflower seeds and would be extremely beneficial for birds, in my opinion. And I've got about 30 pounds left in the second 40-pound bag. So it's kind of a boring, mundane process. You just keep feeding the hopper with seed. I'm about 30 pounds left of the second bag. I plan on pressing 80 pounds of seed. We've got 10 to 20 weight % oil. We would expect somewhere between 6 to 8 pounds of sunflower oil. Probably going to be on the higher side of that. I really think we may do a little bit better than that. But if you do the puts and takes, I kind of expect to get somewhere between 1 and 3 gallons of sunflower oil out of this pressing session. Quite frankly, we're about an hour in and probably have about a half an hour to go. So check back in with you. So let's talk a little bit about why I'm doing this. So one is to educate. It's fun. I can do it. For no other reasons than those three, I can justify making this video. But really, the message I'm trying to send here is, let's imagine a barter economy in the future. Imagine that there's a grid down event. You imagine a lot of scenarios here. I could raise sunflower seeds. I generate electricity. I can run this press. As I'll show you, I'll be able to convert it into biodiesel. I'll be able to make more biodiesel than I could possibly use under that scenario. And I'd have something valuable in the form of biodiesel to go trade with my neighbors. Maybe somebody next door to me is making a lot of firewood. Maybe I want that. Maybe they got chickens. Maybe they got eggs. I think you get the point. So what I'm going to do in this series is I'm going to show you some exotic forms to isolate oil from and to generate biodiesel as a basically a foraging fuel source. Hopefully you'll enjoy that part in the future. Okay, so I've got the last half pound or so of seeds. I'm going to do the shutdown phase. This will probably be the only time I ever show this on my channel. This gives you an idea of the challenges of how to start these machines up and shut them down in real time. So I'll focus on the task at hand and try to narrate as much as possible. So the first thing I'm going to do is slow down the feed rate to give myself time, because I want to have some seeds left over to be able to run through the press after I've taken the front of this compression head off. So I removed the heat collar. I'll stop the press. Take the restrictor off. Now, one thing that's kind of important here, I can drill this out later, but if I can, I'll try to push the seed mill through this restrictor, because once everything cools, it's going to be rock hard. So that went well. And now we're going to turn the press back on and let it just expel some more. So we'll slow this down even more. Kind of let all the pressure and everything in this system kind of relieve itself as much as it can. And then I'll stop it again. I'll take these Allen wrenches and or Allen wrench, and I'll take these 8 bolts off, pull this compression head. You'll see the front of the screw. You'll kind of see how this works, and we'll go from there. Okay, so we've stopped that. Now it's a race against the clock. There's already oil coming through some of the upper screws that I have loosened. This oil's at about 110 degrees Fahrenheit, 110, 120. The head's at about 160, so it's pretty hot. You really don't want to. Get any of this oil on your hand, any of the seed meal on your hand, and I'm going to create a little space here for the oil to drip out. Again, we're kind of Mad Maxing it here. I could have a drill with the right hex head, but this will be okay. I've done this enough. I know I'm going to be okay. If all goes well, you'll see a great big cone come out of this oil press and push it out, which will make cleanup really easy. And I'll be ready to go the next time. So these are machine parts, so you can tap on the outside of the equipment. You just don't want to scratch any of the interfacing parts. Now sometimes this head plate will fall out, and that's why I've got the big container that's holding the crushed seeds and seed meal from this one. If we get lucky, it'll just tap off here. We'll give it just a little gentle persuasion, and just like predicted, there it is. That thing's pretty hot, but this will give you a view of the inside of it. You can see it just turns and creates pressure inside of there. And now I'll stop, I'll get a close up here, and I'll see if I can get the rest of the seed meal to expel out. Apologize for the lighting, not super great, but I think you'll get the point if it comes out. I'm going to turn the system back on. Hopefully the screw press will push it out. And just like that, that's the big plug that creates most of the pressure. And now without any pressure, you'll just see oil and seeds come out of that until the hopper is empty. I can tell you this is about best case scenario for being able to do something like this. Okay, now for the treacherous task of getting the oil out of the weir into the 5-gallon bucket. So first we'll tip it a little bit. And it slides over. Get it on the lip. And just a nice steady pour. Just by eye, I'm going to be on kind of my yield target somewhere around 3 gallons. The first weir section did a good job of catching the seed meal. If I was really worried about it, I would focus on collecting that, leaving it in here, but it doesn't really matter. I'm going to show you the full challenges of purifying cold pressed seed oil. Okay, that's pretty good. We'll set that back. And here you can see as I set this back, the weir did its job. It collected a bunch. Still a lot went into the bucket. Okay, I'll be back for the outtake. Okay, so that wraps this first phase of making crude sunflower oil from sunflowers sold as birdseed. Pretty simple stuff from a technology point of view, but I think it's interesting to present how to think about new energy sources in the wild. And by the way, this is what the inside of the press looked like. So this is the side where the pressure plate is on the end where you saw the ribbons come out. And you can see it just forms a solid mass in there, and seeds get driven in and stuff eventually gets thrown out. But that's why you got to have that head temperature at that 150 degree level and above Fahrenheit. So this concludes phase one, making crude sunflower oil from sunflowers that are sold as birdseed. Kind of fun. Got a little boring for me there at the end. I've pressed a lot of seeds in my life. I don't find any of this interesting. I find it interesting to teach, but I don't find any of this interesting. But what I'm going to do is I'll let this material sit overnight. Some of the seed meal, some of the shell fiber material will settle to the bottom. But I'll take you through the next phase of purifying this sunflower oil. And at that point, one could use it for a variety of things, right? You could make soap with it, you could cook with it, you could bake with it, you could fry stuff with it, and you can even make biodiesel with it. That's what we're going to do, and we're going to have some fun with it. So I estimate I've got about 4 gallons, 3.5. My input costs are at $38 for 80 pounds of birdseed. I didn't buy it on sale. I just went in, bought it. If you look at it that way, I'm about $9.50 if I get 4 gallons of biodiesel out of this experiment. $9.50, not a great price point. You know, when biodiesel around here at its highest, you know, was $6.50. So, but I am making it. I am controlling my ability to go out and forage and convert it into usable fuel and energy. And that's really kind of the purpose, because you always have to think that in the Mad Max scenario, in the grid down, and in the apocalypse, Amazon doesn't deliver in the apocalypse. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where I purify this sunflower oil.